In this video, we're going to talk about all the different fluids on your 2003 to 2006 Infiniti G35. We're going to talk about the windshield washer fluid, the power steering fluid, brake fluid, engine coolant, and the engine oil. The one fluid that we will not be talking about in this video is transmission fluid, because when I was doing the research for this video, I found another video which already does a great job at explaining how to check the transmission fluid. So instead of just redoing the exact same thing, I've decided to just put the link to that video in the description here. So check that out. But the rest of them, we're going to talk about that in detail over here. So let's go ahead and get started. Open the driver's side door. Now once you open the door, right by where the driver's left side foot goes, that's the primary hood release lever. So pull it. Now in front of the vehicle, right on top of the logo there, put one finger in there and push it left, and the hood opens up. This hood needs a prop rod to get the rod out. And we need to put the rod in the slot with the arrow marking it over there. Put the rod in there like that and then let it go. Now once the hood is open, you see that blue cap over there. That's where you fill up the windshield washer fluid from. So open up the cap first. You can either just put water in it if you're living in a place where the temperature never goes below freezing temperature. But if you're living in a place where it does go below freezing, then you definitely want to put windshield washer fluid and not water, because water is going to freeze. And the thing to keep in mind with windshield washer fluid, it's not water, it's chemicals, so be careful with it and read all the warning labels over there. And it could be poisonous if someone happens to drink it. So it's not fun and plays, it's not water, it's chemicals. So keep that in mind. See, it even has a safety cap on it. It doesn't just have a regular cap, so you can't just open it up easily. The way to open up a safety cap is you need to squeeze it over there and then twist it left. And then the cap opens up. Now some of the new bottles may have a seal over there at the bottle neck in order to prevent leakage before you use it for the first time. If your bottle happens to have a seal, make sure you open it up completely. You take the seal off completely using your car keys. Now hold the bottle the way I'm holding and simply start pouring the fluid in. And once you see the fluid level come all the way to the top like that, then you can stop. And now you can put the blue cap back on, and you can use a piece of rag if you have one to clean up any spillage. Don't forget to put the cap back on the windshield washer fluid bottle. Now that's the power steering fluid reservoir. In order to check the levels, there's markings on the side over there. Let's zoom in over there, right? There are markings for when the fluid is cold, which means when the car has been sitting for 3-4 hours, and then there's markings for when the fluid is hot, which is the case when you've driven the car and you're checking the fluid right after driving it, right? So there's different levels for that, because once the fluid gets hot, it expands. So you want to make sure you check the correct level depending on the fluid temperature. And obviously the level should be between min and max. Now if the fluid level is below min, what you want to do is you want to top it off. And that's the cap right there. You can just pull the cap, it comes right off. And the type of fluid you need, it says right there on the cap as well. You need a Dextron 3 ATF fluid. ATF is automatic transmission fluid. I know it's kind of weird that you have to top off power steering fluid with automatic transmission fluid, but that's what it recommends, and that's what we're going to put in. Dextron 3 ATF fluid. That's the one we want. Ideally, you shouldn't have to top off the fluid every now and then, but over time, there's like small leaks here and there. So when you go to the store to buy the ATF fluid, just buy the smallest size of the bottle. Now on the other side over here, we have the brake fluid reservoir. In order to check the level, just wiggle the reservoir a little bit and you should see the fluid slosh inside it. You don't really have to get the cap off if just to check the fluid. Only reason you get it off is if you want to top it off. Now the way the brake system works is you got 3 main components to it. You got the brake pedal, you got the brake fluid, and then you got the actual brakes. The only thing that connects your brake pedal to the brakes is the brake fluid. So obviously it's very important. Now if you want to make sure that it's in good condition and that there is enough of brake fluid. The problem with brake fluid is that it's hygroscopic, meaning it just loves moisture. The moment you expose brake fluid to the atmosphere, it's just going to absorb all the moisture out of the air. And that's the problem, because you do not want brake fluid and moisture to be mixed together, because that makes it unpredictable. And when that does happen, your brake pedal now starts feeling spongy and mushy, and the car takes longer distances to stop, so that's not good. If it does happen that you left the cap off for more than 15-20 minutes, what I strongly suggest you do is you take your car to a mechanic. They have a device that can measure the moisture content in the brake fluid, and they can tell you if you're okay or if you need to get your brake fluid flushed out. And if you do need to get it flushed out, that's one place you do not want to cheap out on. So definitely just get it done if you have to get it done. It is what it is. The brake system is sealed off, right? So it doesn't really consume brake fluid on a daily basis. So it's not like you have to top it off every now and then. The reason why you may notice a change in the brake fluid level though is that one, either there's a leak in your system which is serious and you definitely want to get that checked out, or two, your brake pads are worn down. So what happens is when you get new brake pads, they're thick. Over time though, they get worn down and they get thinner. And now in order to compensate for the thinner pads, the worn down pads, the brake system takes some of the fluid out of the reservoir and into the actual brake lines. So that may cause the level to go down in the reservoir. All right? So those are the two reasons. And if you do have to top it off, I'll show you how to do it. And which fluid do we need to top it off? It says it right there on the cap. .3 brake fluid from a sealed container. And then right after you do that, just close that cap off, and if there's any spillage, make sure you wipe it off with the rag, because brake fluid on paint is going to damage your paint and you don't want that. Now what happens is when the engine is running, it just produces heat, right? It's burning fuel, so it gets hot. Now you want the engine to be warm, but you don't want it to overheat, because if it overheats, then it just causes all sorts of problems, so you don't want any of that to happen. Now that's where the coolant comes in, because what the coolant does is the coolant circulates within the engine, it collects all the heat, and now the hot coolant, it goes to the radiator, it cools off and comes back in, collects more heat, goes back to the radiator, cools off, comes back in. The cycle keeps on repeating again and again. However, in this whole system, what you need is an expansion tank, because the coolant itself, as it heats up, it's going to expand. And as the name suggests, you need an expansion tank where the extra coolant can sort of just go temporarily, and then it can come back to the main cooling system. And that's what you need an expansion tank for. Now that is the radiator pressure cap over there, and that's the reservoir. Now let's look at the warning label on the pressure cap there. Never open when hot. Okay, it's very important that you never ever open that when it's hot, because the fluid underneath is under pressure, and if you open it, it's going to spill and it's going to cause serious burns. You don't want that. That's where you fill it up from. And if you want to just check the level, it's on the side over there. Those markings, they're at the very bottom. It's kind of hard to reach, but all the way down there, min and max. Let's get a closer look over there. And so that is min, and there's another level for max. Let's zoom in there. So the level should be between min and max when the engine is cold. If it's below min, top it off with a pre-diluted 50-50 coolant. You probably just have to top it off every few months, just a little bit. If you have to top it off more often, then there's something wrong and you should get your car checked out. Now the engine oil is the most important fluid in your car. Without engine oil, your engine's gone. It's seized up. All right, and that's a major problem. So the easiest thing you can do to make sure your engine lasts a long time is to make sure that it has proper engine oil in it, the proper quantity and the proper type of engine oil in it at all times. All right? So you definitely want to check your engine oil at least once a month. Don't wait for that warning indicator light to come on your dash. By the time it comes on, it's too late. And if you're in the middle of nowhere, you may not even have a way to go get new engine oil and top it off. So just check your engine oil level once a month at least. Now the reason why the engine oil is so important is because if you open up that engine, you will find there's hundreds of small pieces which are so close together, working at high speeds, under high temperature, and they just keep on going on for such a long time. And the only thing that prevents the metal parts from rubbing against each other is the engine oil. All right? So that's the one thing you definitely want to make sure you are in good shape. Now that's the engine oil dipstick. That's where we will check the oil. First, let me show you if you have to top it off. How do you top it off? So that's the cap. You take that off. You top it off with 5W30. That's the type of engine oil your car takes. 5W30 engine oil. Once you're done topping off, make sure you put the cap back on and tighten it. And now let's go ahead and check the oil. That's the dipstick to check the engine oil level. See, it even says on it, engine oil. Now, you're going to need a piece of rag in order to check the engine oil level. So I'm going to show you some shots from the far, and then I'm going to show you some close-up shots. Because the thing is, the dipstick doesn't just come out straight. It comes out in a crooked way. So let's first see how the dipstick comes out from far away, and then I'll show you a close-up shot. So pull the dipstick out first, just straight. And then watch how I'm taking the dipstick out. And take your time with it. There's no rush. It takes a couple seconds. Just like that. Now let's look at that hole from where the dipstick came out. You go in all the way, and that's the hole where the oil dipstick goes in. Let's wipe the oil dipstick clean with the piece of rag we have and look at the scale. The L means low, H means high. So the oil level has to be between L and H. You don't want it to be over H, and at the same time you don't want it to be below L either. It has to be between L and H. And it takes about 1 quart of oil to go from L to H. 1 quart is about 950 milliliters. Now once you wiped it clean, let's put the oil dipstick back in, and then we will wait for a couple seconds and then pull it out again. And I'm doing a close-up shot so you can see how the dipstick goes in, like how you have to go through a convoluted part to put the dipstick back in. Wait for a couple seconds and then pull it out. Now let's get a good reading. So the oil level on this is just about the L mark. It's right there. So I would probably put 1 quart of oil in this engine. Once you're done checking the engine oil level, put the dipstick back in. Make sure it sits in place. And that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching.